Ciao Elena and hello everyone and welcome to our weekly episode of Stay at the Farm. You may be wondering why Elena is here instead of Marco, and I'm sorry to tell you that Marco had some health problems a few days ago and he cannot be here with us, but I'm sure he is watching us. So I send him a warm hug and wish him to recover soon and be back next Friday. I apologize with everybody if maybe today the talk show will not be as good as previous ones. Without Marco it will be challenging, but we will do our best, so welcome Elena.
Hello everyone, my father Marco told me to send his regards to you all. Elvis, what did you do this week with your kids at the Le Soleil Arabians?
This week we did something very nice. Margaret's family has had some lemon tree for more than 50 years, and they cannot be planted in the ground because here in north of Italy in the winter is very cold. So we keep them in a huge vases, and in spring we put them outside. And in late fall we restore them inside the winter garden. Now the trees are full of lemons, so we decided to make marmalade, and we teach kids to do marmalade and to prepare everything. It was really a challenge for them, but I have to tell you that at the end the taste was very good. So we enjoyed to do it together, and we looked for some good recipe in internet. It was our first time also for me and Margaret that we do it, but I think it came very good results.
Very nice video. Elliot should join MasterChef, I think.
This really is a program in TV that he really likes. So maybe in the future, who knows? I can send him to Gigi so he can teach him, because I don't know if you know, but Gigi is very good chef. He is very good cooker.
So he can have a nice teacher close to him.
Yeah. A super teacher. We always enjoy to go to have dinner with Gigi because every time he prepares something very good, but also particular, strange. He would like always to try new elements, and good, very good. I suggest everybody to go to visit Gigi once.
Elvis, please stay with us to welcome our next guest. We are waiting to talk with Philippe Loyens, trainer and co-owner of Privilege Arabians. Let's see if he's with us.
Hello.
Hello, Philippe.
Hi, Philippe.
Hi, Elvis. How are you doing?
Very good, thank you.
Philippe, are you in Mallorca or in Belgium right now?
At the moment in Mallorca in the quarantine, and luckily the internet keeps us connected worldwide. So at the moment in Mallorca, yes.
So you are enjoying a little bit of sun and little holiday, right?
Well, actually, the weather has not been wonderful here. I think actually in the north of Europe, it's a whole lot more sunny than here. It's actually been raining, but it's okay. We're keeping busy.
Okay.
Philip,
Elvis.
I prepared a video of some of my Zita Team and Your Fantasy daughters. Last time you visited Le Soleil was more than a year ago, and I remember you and Antonia really liked them. So now they are 3 years old.
Yes.
And we have just covered all 3 for next year, and I would like to show you and see how you find them.
Wonderful. I look forward to see the videos.
The first one is Passiflora Le Soleil. She's by
Yes.
Laiba Le Soleil, that is a daughter of Alfabia Sheib by W.H.
Yeah.
Justice. And the mother line of Laiba is Halima Shah Le Soleil, which is a daughter of Laib Al Nasser. From in the bottom, the line go back to Egyptian and Krabet mare, Star of the Hill. I don't know if you know this mare from Gigi. He bought her in from
Yes, yes.
Maxwell's.
Yes. One of his famous foundation mares. Actually, at Samjat, we also have a mare tracing back the same family. So it was extremely good mover, Star of the Hills, very charismatic mare.
Yeah. Then the second one is Pervinca Le Soleil. She's again by a daughter of Fabia Sheib, Leilani. That is the mare that actually my son is riding. She's a very good, with strong body and very good character.
She looks very athletic, yes.
Yeah, you can see a little bit of difference on the body. This is more athletic. The other one maybe had more dishy head. But what I can say is that Magno Fantasy produced very strongly in each of them, his qualities, and I'm so happy about all three these fillies. I have others too, daughter of him, very nice, but today I didn't film them. And in this video, they are still with a little bit of winter coat, so you cannot really see much, but
yes,
I hope people can see how they are.
Nice.
And last one is Persia. She's again by the Laïb Al Nasser daughter, Ali Mashallah Soleil, that I sold some years ago, and unlucky she died. And this is her last filly.
Beautiful. This was my favorite. I remember when we came to visit you last year.
Yes, she is really, let's say, delicate, in her face, in her movement, in everything.
What you for sure can see that Magno really pushes on any mare, not only with you, but in general. He's definitely 100% right in producing long legs, big size, and elegance overall. I've seen what he's been doing with mares that are small. Immediately in the first generation, he can add. I'm talking about 5-6 centimeters within one go. So he's very consistent with that.
And this is really true, because I remember when they was born, all of the Magno Fantasy son and daughters was really, huge, and they looked like already 1 month old, and they was just born. So it's really something that is strongly produced, the leggy in force and good movement.
Yes. No, we've seen that in all the places where he has been breeding. When you talk refinement and elegance and size, I think there is not so many horses around these days. He's a little different than maybe what people look for these days, but he can add so much to any breeding program in terms of proper breeding. Maybe his foals need a little longer than some other lines that are ready within a month, and then 2 months, 3 months, they look perfect. Maybe the Magnos need a bit more time, a little bit like the Egyptian horses. But I've always, since the first time I saw him in Italy, I've been a big fan, a personal fan of the stallion.
Yeah, me too, because the first time that I saw him, it was just arrived from Argentina in Alfabia Stud. And I remember that I was so impressed. He was very young and already very, long neck, very arched neck. Also the tail carriage, the movement, the back. I was really in love with him. And I covered, if I remember well, 3 of my mares. Then after the first year, I got only 1 filly and 2 colts, but the year after, I covered all my mares with him, and I got 2 colts and maybe 4 fillies that I kept all 4 for me, and 1 colt, and then again I covered 2 times, and now I have another one, the daughter of El Perfecto in follow of him, and we'll see.
Yes.
I think it's a very good stallion to create, a base on your breeding program. Then
No
you can
question
work
at all,
on the daughters.
Yes, also his pedigree, there is nothing, you know a little bit where you're going. It's all quite clean blood. There is no it's not lemons mixed with apples, and it's all, when you look down to the third, fourth generation, they were all consistently famous, pretty good breeding horses. So he's busy now in the UAE, but we'll speak about that in a bit. I believe you wanted to show a video that we've done in Aachen, no?
Yes, we did a live video in Aachen during your presentation in 2018.
Yes.
Let me show you.
Yeah, I was there with Marietta Salas and Shirley and Charlie Watts. I remember all of us was really impressed about him.
Yes, I think it's the time that Halzon Arabians bought quite a big package of breedings.
Yeah.
It was a nice day.
Yeah, she was with me and she was really excited to get seen.
Yes.
Is Magno still in Europe at Privilege?
At the moment, he's in the UAE. He's at our Samjat stud. Has a few different farms. Home base is Lebanon. They have horses with us at Privilege in Europe, and we recently are looking into the UAE market as well, and we opened a farm a couple of months ago in Sharjah, in the UAE. So Magno at the moment, he's there.
And you have any project to show him again, or?
Well, he's a breeding stallion. We don't plan. We have no intention to show him, but he's finishing the season soon in the UAE. And he will be passing by Europe again soon, as soon as hopefully flights are getting a little bit easier again. But we are planning to bring him back in May, if hopefully time allows. And then he will spend a few months in Europe over the summer. And then he will most likely, the way it looks, return to his home country in Lebanon, where there is quite a lineup of mares waiting for him. So he's quite a busy traveler. Meanwhile,
these are some
while
of his daughter.
Yes, this is a wonderful homebred filly that Samjat owns. She's by Magno, out of an Alejandro daughter called AJ Adina. And her mother line is interesting because she goes back to the famous Psyche's Amber Gem, the world champion mare from, maybe 15, 20 years ago. Time flies. But it's a wonderful filly that is in Lebanon born and raised. And same with her, as soon as traveling gets a little bit easier, we will start to ship horses around. So
now that he is there in Sharjah, you have frozen semen here for European breeders?
Yes, we have frozen semen at Privilege in Belgium, and quite a big stock. But however, when he returns, we will redo some frozen, and he will also be available via fresh semen probably till, let me think fastly, till probably September, October. So as soon as he gets home, we will do an advertising that he's back on European soil, and then he's available for the public.
Okay, good. Elena, do you have some question? There are some questions from the social room.
Yes, first of all, when we showed the video of Magno, a lot of people text us and wrote on Facebook that he is simply amazing. Then we have some question for you from Josephine from France. Philippe,
Okay.
I know you always been in good relationship with Marietta Salas. Which of her horses you liked most, and which of her mare you think has been the best producer?
Well, switching to Cesplanes, to cut a very long story short, I would think that Ghazali, which was an El Perfecto daughter, actually one of the last ones, has been the most consistent. She's the mother of Abba Palma that became world champion filly. Um, so I think that was one of her best lines, as well as a mare called Ziti Luch Kalba, which was a beautiful Lugin daughter. That was the dam of Abha Qatar that went Triple Crown, and also the dam of Abhamira, famous Al Shakab mare that is the dam of Fadi, Al Shakab, and so many others. So, but that we can write a book about that farm. But to cut it short, I think those two mares were the most influential in the last 15 years.
Okay. Then we have Nicholas from Belgium. He asked, are you still presenting horses? Are you still on Privilege Training Center? I saw you less on show, so maybe you have different plans for the future.
No, things remain the same. Actually, I was never somebody that showed already in the past as many horses maybe as other horse trainers did. If you go back to the past, I never showed a lot of horses. I always chose a bit the people that I'd like to be involved with as a mutual working relation. And I've been a long time and still involved with Mohammedia Farm, for example. But also they never really showed a lot of horses. It was always quite selected. It is true that the last maybe 1 or 2 years I'm focusing a lot on Samjat. It's a very exciting project for the years to come. We have lots of plans, and I travel more than before. But things have actually stayed the same as always. So.
Okay, then we have Yannis from Greece. When you have to select a mare for you or a client, what are the qualities she must have and what are the faults she must not have?
Well, it's maybe a difficult question to answer in a short in a fast way. But I believe that when it comes to mares, I think you should try to look to what they have done in the past in order to maybe eliminate some faults that she continues to produce. And what I do believe is that the quality of a mare should normally not be taken away. If a mare has a wonderful eye, I would try to always breed as well to a stallion with a nice eye to get the genetics quite imprinted. But I do think that studying the past of a mare can teach you a lot. I sometimes think horses sometimes guide us more the way than the way around.
Okay, last question. We have Qin Yu from China. I'm new in this business, but I learned that a lot of people from USA and Europe are trying to sell their horses in China. Most of them are the ones that cannot win in their country. So the newcomer, what do you suggest to do, and how we can select a good horse?
Well, I think to newcomers and to select, what I believe is step number one is I think you need to be very passionate to learn about horses. I think this is step number one. And I think the biggest tool to learn is to travel. There are many books about horses, there's many theories, but I think traveling and seeing horses with your own eyes for the first years is the first thing you should try to do to see what you personally like. I think it's very difficult to educate yourself sitting at home, going over the internet and trying to learn. So I would advise every newcomer to travel as much as possible to breeders, to listen, to talk, to go to horse shows. I think a lot of years can be saved by traveling. Yes.
Okay. So, Philip, thank you very much for your time. We really
You're
love to
welcome.
talk with you. And
Thank you,
personally,
Philip.
I wish
Thank
to
you,
see you.
Elvis.
I wish to see you more in the show because I really like the way that you show horses.
Thank you.
Thank you, Philip, and hope talk you soon. Bye.
Thank you, Elvis. We'll look forward to come visit you soon again in Italy when traveling
It's
gets
a
easier.
pleasure. You are most than welcome. I will
And
prepare
go-
some marmalade, lemon marmalade for you. We have now a lot from
Thank you, and
our last week.
keep up. I hope shows can start soon again for you guys, because I think you are really doing a wonderful job covering the shows worldwide, and it must be lots of work. So congratulations on that.
Thank you.
you.
Thank you very much. Bye, Philip.
Thank you. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye bye.
So now we have a short break. Stay with us for the next guest.
This program is offered by
Okay, I think that now Vincenzo joined us.
Hello to everybody. I hope you hear
Hi,
me.
Vincenzo.
Hi.
Hi, Elvis. Hi. Sorry,
How
we
are
had
you?
some problem with computer. Fine, thank you. And you? I hope fine.
Yeah.
To you?
All fine, thank you.
Sorry, I talk a little bit about you without you here because we was waiting, and I hope that what I told it was good, you know.
I hope you I'm sure you talk good enough. Also, good, better than I am. So I'm sure. Thank you.
So, Vincenzo, how are you spending those days in lockdown?
We are spending these days at home because even if I'm a lawyer, so according to rules, I can work also at office, but we chose as a legal office to organize from home as a smart working these days. So we are all working at home, but okay, it's a good chance to stay more with the family, and so it's also a good thing from that side, so that point of view. Okay.
Okay, so you also enjoy stay at home with your family. I have a question for you. You are a breeder of straight Egyptian. Why you decided to breed straight Egyptian and not purebred?
I'm very fond of Arabian horses in general. I got no limits. I like Arabian horses word at all. But when I decided what I wanted to breed. Maybe a part of me prevailed. I think that Egyptian breedings is a choice of, of beauty, like all of us do, a choice of beauty for the beauty of an animal, but also is a strong connection with the story, with the original story of this kind of breed, because all the pedigrees of our horses can go straight to the tribes in the middle of the desert. And so there's also a historical interest, I think, inside the choice. And to keep the root, to preserve also a group of horses that is the root of the purebreds, also purebreds raven horses. I think that this is common to all straight Egyptian breeders in the world, I think.
Okay. I know that
Vincenzo, let us show the video you prepared and we can comment it together.
Yes, thank you.
so
Yes,
I suppose
I
this is
prepared-
Where it's located exactly?
Very close to Venice, 10 minutes from Venice center, 10 minutes from Venice airport. Yes, this is the place where we keep the horses, our farm, and we are there since 3 or 4 years. So it's recently, we moved there recently because we have enough pastures, and for us it's very important that the horses stay outside more of the time, most of the time. Also during the night, most of them, if there is not particular reason to keep them inside. And so we have enough pastures for our horses. It's a wealthy choice for horses.
Yeah, we are doing the same at my farm, and also in the winter. Also, if the winter is very strong and cold, they put a lot of winter coat, and I think it's the best way to keep horses.
Yeah, I agree. In fact, I sent you a really family movie that Valentino, that is the boy that managed the horses, did for us in the last 2 days. So very, very new. And I prefer to give you a very true movie than a professional one that is recent. And so this one
Who
that
is
you
this
see
nice
is Majid
stallion?
Deku. This is Majid
Wow.
Deku. This is Majid Deku. Majid Deku is a stallion that I imported in 2010. Now he is 17, 18 years old, so he's an old stallion. And I loved so much his type and a very strong pedigree. He is an Obeyan, and I choose him because he is very stretchy horse, and I hoped to add stretch to my horses. This is one of the first filly I had from him, by him. This is Assad Zakiyeh, that is out of Javara Guasimo, that is one of my broodmare foundation broodmare. But she was the first delivery by Majid, and a lucky delivery because here you see her very natural. He lives outside, so he's not snorkeling and something like that. He's very, very serene. But he has most of what we were looking for: strong body, deep hips, good balance, and a good movement too. And this is the second Majid daughter we had from another mother line, the Manshavan mother line. And these are the two kinds of horses that Majid has delivered for us mostly. So it's an example. We have 5 daughters of Majid at home at the moment, and a couple of recent filly, very, very nice filly that we weren't able to show because they are outside, and so the boy was alone and wasn't able to show everything. Anyway, this is an example of what Majid produced for us and what we kept in broodmare bands to keep some sign from him, stretchy sign. There is a lot of Majida motherline. Majid is out of the best daughter of Bim Majida, that is Miss Magimeh. Is a family of champions, a full brother of Gatsby CC. Gatsby CC was Egyptian Event USA supreme champion, reserve champion,
and
Egyptian
I
event
know
Europe.
his mother is by the minstrel. So from this, I can understand that you had an open mind. Until a few years ago, not a lot of straight Egyptian breeder was using these bloodlines. At least till the moment
That's true.
DNA proven that the line was pure, right?
That's true. Let me say something about the horse you see, and then I talk you about the one question you gave me. This is Purguasimo. That is the opposite of what you said, because it's a Nagel inbred horse, strongly inbred Nagel horse. And I used him and a couple of sisters by him as a cross. He is by Encap Afijamil, and this is one of the same family. Anyway, coming back to Majid, yes, in the last 5-6 years, the prejudice against minstrel increased a lot. When I imported Majid in 2010, I did 30 breedings in the first year. 30, that is a good amount of breeding. After that, in the last 5-6 years, there was an increasing prejudice against the minstrel, and I'm really upset as Egyptian breeder, you know, about that, because as you see, this mare has no minstrel inside, Hur has not minstrel inside. So I'm an open-minded breeder, open-minded compared to those breeder who doesn't want some lines, because I think that they don't do the interest of the straight Egyptian breedings that has a very, very narrow blood.
But let's see.
Okay,
this one is 2 years old, colt from Saudi Arabia when you imported him.
Yeah, on the base you saw the first 3-4 horses was my base, you know. At a certain point I had to do a new step, and I wanted to look for something new. So I chose this boy that was 2 years old, cold and unknown, really unknown, from Saudi Arabia, and I imported him for at least 2 years, and I covered 7-8 mares, 7-8 mares. And you know, I'm very happy for this next step, also because the young colt that I imported, the video you saw before was my open house of 2017. Now he's a champion because Barik became European champion, was also bronze world champion, and so on. He's also a champion in show, but this is not an important thing. The important thing is what he left in my breeding program, because he did what I looked for that he did. This is the first filia I had from him. I wanted from him major refinement of the muzzle of the horses. Keeping, if possible, the stretch, keeping the basic correctness, but I wanted to improve the fineness, the refinement of the muzzles. And as you see, this is Assa Barizza. This is Assa Barizza Autosama, one of my main mares that is not on the movie. And she is very now she is 2 years old, so not the best stage. But she has always been very refined in the muzzle, good mover, good tail carriage, good balance of the neck, of the coming out of the neck. So I'm happy with the cross of Barik with our Bradmare bands. Maybe I have to say that my Bradmare bands is one of the most numerous group of Babolna Elaziza line. Elaziza was one of the first or the second imports of Babolna during the 60s, and she is a Binghe Mama Shaklavi Jedran mare, but this is not important. Important is that is a group of mare that I know very well, because comes from the same route of Elaziza line through Gaida, that is Mazun daughter, and so on. And so I have to put some salt inside to improve something point. This is the second fall I had from Barik, crossing with my group of Babolna mares. This is Bakir, also 2 years old colt. This video is taken yesterday, so it was not a sunny day. Anyway, I like also this result, because as you can see, this colt is very balanced, has an easy trot, has a deep hips, good neck. So I like the result of the cross, because he is just a little more refined of the mother, with the charisma of the father, and a muzzle more refined, as Barik for sure has. If you see Barik in person, Barik looks like a mare. Has a very, very feminine muzzle. And he
But
passes
an important
this,
thing,
this.
and that I'm happy to see, is that all your horses are a good mover.
Yeah, balanced. You know, when you have a balanced horse, it's difficult that it doesn't move. It can happen, you know, but it's difficult. And so I look for balance. That's for sure. This is another filly by Barik. The mother is Asad Zakiyeh, the one that we saw before, Majid, the daughter. So you can see the cross between the Majid insertion of my breeding program and the Barik insertion. You can see what you can see from a cell video like that. So Barik kept the balance of the mares that are balanced. You have to know something about the mares that I used to cross Ibn Ajdi. I don't know if you know very well Ibn Ajdi. Ibn Ajdi
Sure.
is a very important point about the pedigrees of Nagel. Look, this is another colt always from Barik. You can see the refinement of the muzzle. This is a colt, so you can see the muzzle that is nearly feminine. And I was saying that I used it like as a cross. That is not so easy because sometimes Ibn Ajdi gives type, but you can balance, and everybody knows this. And so I'm not speaking bad. This is a knowledge, and but I could do it because I had basic strong mares. And at the end, I'm happy because in this generation I see that he doesn't ruin the biggest type and so on. I'm happy, you know, for my small, our small. I have to say that the breeding program is done by me and my wife. We share our passion, and I have also to remember my dear friend Fogarin Vito of Mostad. We cooperate so much in the years. He was a great friend. He's no more with us, but I want to remember he is one of the romantic breeders of our nation. This is Assa Balizza during the World Championship.
With lot of love.
Yeah, we remember
I was
him.
telling that
I know
we all
everybody.
remember him with lot of love. He left us too early, and he was a very good breeder, and I'm sure he was so proud of his world champion straight Egyptian mare, Maisuna Guasimo. He bred such nice horses, and one is yours, and I saw that you have also other from these bloodlines from him. I know you had a very good relationship with him.
We're deeply friends. One of my best friends, really, also outside Arabian horse world. I remember him well because a part of my breeding program brings his soul. You know, you told about Maisuna Guasimo. The group of my mares are all from the grandmother of Maisuna Guasimo. That is Gaida and Javara Guasimo. The mares you saw are all sister, uncle of Maisuna Guasimo. So there's so much of him in my breeding program, in our breeding program of me and my wife Chiara. Chiara is not with us, but tells a lot to everybody. I represent also her in this moment.
So some years ago you imported this 2-year-old colt that no one knows who he was from Saudi Arabia, and today he's in a training center at Giacomo Capaci. I know that he's a very good stallion, and of course I would like to thank Giacomo to send us this video that we show, and who is interested to buy breedings from him can contact directly Giacomo, and everybody saw the nice quality that he transmits in the mares. And why you decided to import this colt?
Yes, thank you of the question. I was telling something about that. I think that the decision to import an unknown horse, unknown stallion, is very, very dangerous. But I like also to try to do something different. The horse has a mix in the pedigree, has a, according to my opinion, a perfect mix between type and prey movement, because in the upper part of his pedigree you can find the most typey horse in the Egyptian breeding world. Ashalla Rayyan, Ladida Shakab, Eren Farid, and you have in the upper part really a juice of the type, of the best type in the world. In the down, you have body, because she is out of Shokan, that is Avanzata Sokar, so Imperial Madin, Son, so Byzantine movement, and also the mother line is Bin Said al Nasser, so again Imperial Mazdir, Imperial Madin again, so double Imperial with Ansata Sokar, Ansata Selman, so all horses, great presence, good bodies, good dynamic, and so it's a mix between what I was looking for, not only type but also body and presence and movement.
You know, I thought before that I saw this video to ask you what you was expecting from him and if you get it, but I have not to do this question because I already saw that what he produced. It's very nice, very fantastic.
We can.
Thank you. You know, you have to pay attention. Barik is a great stallion. I'm not talking about Barit, but some line you have to pay attention.
Yeah.
I don't know. Can I talk? You hear me?
Yeah, you can talk. Yeah.
Yeah, you have to pay attention with eyes, with some lines that Barik has inside, but not only Barik and Salma for giving others the opportunity to have him, but complete horse. And above all, he's a good producer. So I can suggest to use him.
Good. Elena, do we have some question from the social room?
Yes. Dixie from Hellfire Arabians Australia ask you, hello Vini and Chiara, would love to know what made you get into straight Egyptian horses and what are your favorite traits of this breed. I love your boutique collection of horses and admire your enthusiasm and passion you bring to the breed. Good luck and hope to meet you one day in Europe.
Thanks, I think that the main thing is that we want to be connected with history, with that Oriental flavor that is present in every straight Egyptian horse, even if not perfect, not the best, but brings with him a clear Oriental flavor that it's not always is present in all horses, and this is what we love.
Okay, then we have Janine from France. Which are the qualities that SM Barik can improve in a mare, and if you have to choose a mare for him, which are the assets that she must have?
I think that has to have good eyes, not the mares, but also in the pedigree, good black eyes, round eyes, because some of the lines that Barik brings, like Ashalla Rayyan, gives a lot, but can not give the best eyes that you look for if you like black eyes. So this is the only point. For the remaining point of view, Barik is a complete horse outside and also in pedigree. I used him with all kind of mares, and he gave a good result with all kind of mares that I have in the pastures. Improved type, basically.
We have a last question from Lorenzo from Italy. You was the president of our association, Anica. What do you think of the situation nowadays of our association, and would you like to be again president?
Lorenzo wants travel. Oh, sorry, I'm joking. I don't know. I'm very busy, and during the years I cannot come because I'm very busy with my job. Anyway, publicly, because I believe that an association is a group, a community, and has to discuss its own things in the proper place, in the general meeting, and so on. So, Lorenzo, I have suggestions for sure, some ideas, but I prefer that that belongs to the same.
Okay, we suggest Lorenzo to give a call to to our guest directly, and you can talk privately about all these things if he wants to know more, I think.
Yeah, I think that too. So, thank you very much for your time. It was very nice to see your horses and to talk with a so experienced breeder that enlightened us all.
Bye, Vincenzo, and I hope to talk with you soon again, because we had a so nice talk last week, and I'm happy to share with you and to get some more, of your passion.
Thank you so much.
Keep me going. Maybe, Elena,
Now,
we have to say goodbye because the line is not very good
yeah,
with,
exactly.
Vincenzo.
Exactly. Now I think we have a little break, and we come back with a new guest in a few minutes.
This program is offered by
Welcome back. Now is the turn of a guest from Middle East. She's Australian born, but living in Sharjah at the farm of Dr. Ghanem Al Ajri, Al Awajer Stad. Rebecca, are you with us?
Yes, hi, how are you?
Ah.
Hi, Elena. Hi, Elvis.
Hi.
Hi,
We are
Rebecca.
good.
Hi, Elvis.
And you?
Good, I'm good. Thank you very
How
much.
are you spending those days? You have to work like normal, or there has been some change in your daily routine?
No, it's pretty much life as normal. We're just working on the farm, finishing up the breeding season. It's now Ramadan, so we're doing normal Ramadan timings of working more in the evenings and early mornings, and it's very quiet during the middle of the day. So the horses go out more in the evening, but it's apart from that, it's normal work here.
I see that behind you there are a lot of prizes. Was all win by Alawajer Stad?
Yes, yeah, they're
Ah.
all, and most of them are all from the UAE. So
Okay, very
they're-
nice.
They're all the trophies. Yeah, it's been good.
Hi, Rebecca. I'm very happy
Hi,
have
Elvis.
to have you with us today. I remember some years ago, the first time we finally met after years of chatting by mails and messages. I came to visit you at the farm with Gigi, and you were so nice and
Yeah.
showed us a lot of amazing horses. And that time, Dr. Ghanem had a beautiful four crop by RFI Farid. He was bred in Brazil
Yeah.
by our friend Rodrigo Forte at Aras Santo Antonio de Bella Vista, and after imported in Italy by another good friend of us, Pippo Palumbo, which led him to become bronze champion colt in Paris, exactly 10 years ago in 2010 when he was 3 years old.
Yeah.
I would like to ask you,
Time flies.
when exactly, yeah, when exactly did Dr. Ghanem decided to buy him?
Well, it was all during 2010 and 2011. Dr. Yanam had been looking for the next step. He was interested in an exciting young colt or stallion with, a slightly different pedigree, some different blood to bring into the Middle East and in his breeding program. And actually, the sale happened really quickly. I had contacted actually today's first guest, Philip Loins. And I had let him know that Dr. Yanam was looking for a young colt, something exciting, something to cross over his mares. And he suggested Farid. And I said, wow, well, we're actually looking at buying some breedings to Farid. I didn't know he'd be available for purchase. And he said, well, yeah. And for Dr. Yanam, it was very much a gut instinct. He loves Dark Victory. He loves Ali Jamal. The pedigree.
So was he
offered
the first to
something-
believe in this stallion after Pippo?
I think there's many people that believed in him, but it was everything just felt right. It was the sale happened actually very quickly. Dr. Yanam works a lot of gut instinct. He loves his, he makes reactions very quickly, whether he really likes a line or doesn't like a line, and it was just a pedigree, a horse, a situation that felt perfect at the time. So we just went ahead and it all happened very quickly, and he purchased Farid. The agents were Philip Loins and Frank Spoonley. And so, yeah, and then the rest, they say, is history. And he really believed in the
I saw
bloodline and the
him
pedigree.
in Privilege, let's say 2 years ago, during one open house that they did, I think after maybe European Championship or Aachen, I don't remember exactly. But he was really impressive horse, very charismatic with this huge. I always, the stallions that most impress me are with these huge black eyes that he has, and also the movement.
Yeah.
He is very charismatic horse with a lot of movement.
Yeah,
And
he is.
remember me the old Spanish bloodline in the Arabian
Exactly,
horses,
yeah.
with these black
Yeah.
eyes and character. Very
Exactly. Well, I know that eyes and eye sets, eye sockets, are something that's very important to Dr. Yanam, and width, the width across the eyes, and his face is unbelievable. As a 4-year-old, he was wearing a show halter from a 2-year-old. It's such a short face, but still has the width, the structure, but he's got the refinement. He's just such a beautiful horse. And it was funny, it didn't take long because Dr. Yanum's here every day at the farm, and Farid really won his heart, and he, you know, the horse would call out to him every time, and you know, he'd go up and feed him carrots every day, and it was the first horse that, you know, he'd feed carrots to every day on the farm. And he just, you know, it's something about those big eyes and the charisma of the stallion that just, you know, won his heart, I think, on the.
Yeah, and
So,
also
yeah,
we can say that he's producing very consistently in his foals, because
extremely.
lot of times when I saw some offspring of him around the world in some videos on Facebook, I can recognize that they are from Farid, because he's putting
Yeah.
this kind, you know, of type of eyes and neck that you lot of time you can recognize them, and this is good, I think, for a
Exactly.
stallion.
Yeah, and what I've never actually come across a stallion that because obviously I've tracked his breeding and his progeny and everything, and what we experienced here on the farm also. You can predict very closely how a foal is going to grow up and what it will look like by the time it's like a 4-year-old, based on its color from the Farid offspring that I've seen. The bays, they're usually born very pretty and stay pretty. They don't change a lot. They stay very similar from when they're born right the way through. The greys are probably born a little bit more refined, more extreme, and they end up still extremely nice horses, but maybe not quite as refined in the muzzle. They end up looking very sporty still, with those beautiful eyes, big movements, and looking very similar to Farid's mother. And the chestnuts are completely different. They don't have the typical Farid look. They don't, and they're quite different horses. So it was very interesting for us, and it was great for a breeding farm when you've got a stallion that's so predictable. And we experienced a very similar thing. I know we'll talk later about Dominic, but it's a very similar thing with Dominic M, when the stallion's so predictable, and it makes it a lot easier for a breeding program to to try and, you know, make the next step
This
and,
is
and decide the breeding.
very important, I think.
Yeah, exactly.
Rebecca, what are your daily tasks at the farm?
Wow. I like to be extremely hands-on. So I am usually out with just watching the guys, watching that they're doing the working the horses properly. I'm usually checking in. We're very lucky that we have 2 vets on the farm. One is a vet and a farrier, and the other one is a general vet and reproduction. So I'm usually checking in on both of those every day, see what the, you know, if there's anything going on. I do all of the foalings myself with the guys, but I'm there for every one of the foalings. And so during the season, I don't get a lot of sleep, but it's well and truly worth it. I love seeing the, you know, the new foals, and then, yeah, just overseeing everything, making sure that it's running smoothly, that everything. And I think one of the biggest things managing a farm in the Middle East is, you know, it's very different to in Europe. The staff that we have on the farm, you have your core staff that are very passionate, but the majority of the staff are not there because they're passionate about horses. They're there because they need to feed their family. So it's just watching every day, watching that, you know, they're learning that, you know, and trying to create an interest and spur on an interest. Yeah, so that's what I do.
And
the day.
what are Dr. Ghanem concept and philosophy about the Arabian horse breeding and show?
He's so passionate about the Arabian horses. He's here every day. He loves horses that have charisma, that have movement, that have, you know, the big eye socket. He very much believes in doing everything in a very honest way. He wants to see that when his horses win in shows, they're winning I'll just interrupt for 2 seconds. This young colt that you're seeing now is a 3-year-old son from ES Sharir and Besson Dreams. Besson Dreams is a Besson Carroll daughter out of A Magic Dream. And we're going to be concentrating a lot with breeding him. Sorry, I just wanted to interrupt while we were seeing that video. But yeah, so Dr. Yanam very much believes in doing everything the honest way. When his horses win, it's because they're the best horse on the day. Yeah. And this video, I just have to say, is the video is made by Dr. Yanam's youngest son, Humaid. He made it a couple of days ago. He came out to the farm. Yeah, he's just started doing, some film work and photograph work, and I have to be corrected. I think he's about 18 or 19. I forgot to ask how old he is, but yeah, he loves his cameras, and we've been nagging him for a long time to come and do more stuff with the horses, because he's a teenage boy that likes cars and likes everything.
He should join us and our team then.
Yeah, I'll tell him.
Good idea.
But the whole family's involved in the farm. His son Rashid is here almost every day also, and owns quite a lot of the horses. You see here we've got a very large breeding clinic that we hope to help out some of the smaller farms that don't have the facilities in. They can bring their mares to us and breed out the horses. And so he's very interested in helping the community also, offering services to farms that don't have the facilities that he has on the farm. So
that's very nice.
Yeah, he's an amazing. I've worked for Dr. Yanam for 12 years, and he's an amazing guy. He loves his horses. He's so passionate about it, and there's not very many other people that I'd work for as long as what I've worked for him, and I don't have any plans to change anything. Yeah.
We see that he really won a lot in the past years.
Yeah.
Speaking of shows,
the majority of it. Yeah.
No, sorry.
I was just going to say the majority of it is with his own breeding in the last few years. But yes, go on.
Now, speaking of shows, I'm sure all people are very curious about your 2 silver champions at Dubai International Show. Let me show a replay of their amazing performance, and you can tell us something about their future.
Sure, no problem. This is Ghalia Al Hawaja. So he's a son by Dominic M. out of Ghalia. Ghalia Al Hawaja is a Rashim daughter, RFI Rashim daughter, a Fa'il Rashim daughter, out of the Citadel daughter Valentina. Ghali is a very special young colt for us. He's, from the moment he was born, he had very much a alpha kind of attitude. I think he's going to play a very important part in our breeding program over the next few years. He's, we love his mother. He's the first foal from Ghalia, so we're very happy that she's to have Dubai Silver Champion as a first foal is a very good sign for the future for her. And we're very. Dr. Yanam's already said a few times that Ghali's never going to leave his farm. And this is Mutabahi. So Mutabahi is a 2-year-old colt. He won as a yearling Most Beautiful Head in Paris last year, gold champion colt in Al Shara, silver champion now in Dubai. He's by Fa'il Rashim out of the ZT. Well, I've just had a complete mind block now. Out of ZT Magrumi. And ZT Magrumi's a magnanimous daughter, out of a Shak Fantasy daughter. and Dr. Yanam purchased E.T. Magrumi from Michael Bayat as a yearling, and he always believed that she would be very important for him in his breeding program, and so far it's rung true. So these young boys are going to be, you know, a future step in our breeding program. We're very proud of both of them and their achievements in the show, and we will probably start breeding with them next year, and we'll see. Yeah.
What about Dominic M? Could you tell us something about his story and how did Dr. Ghanem get involved with this horse?
Sure. So Dr. Yanam and I have had a long-standing friendship with Las Rosas Arabians. You know, we had leased Excalibur, and it started about 6 years ago when Dr. Yanam purchased a yearling filly bred by Olivia Strauch, the manager of Las Rosas. She's actually, the filly was called Patire, and she's a maternal sister to both Hash, the Dominic colt that's standing at Yarem Arabians, and Proludio, the Dominic colt in the US at the moment. And she called me up the day after she had brought Dominic, and she said, I've just brought a yearling colt that I think you and Dr. Yanam are going to love. And she sent us some videos, and we followed him. He was Brazilian national junior champion colt, and then he went to Las Rosas for breeding. So we waited to see what he was going to produce, and if, you know, because he's a Da Vinci son out of a Versace, out of a Valentino daughter, and we wanted to see exactly, you know, how he would produce, and his offspring in Las Rosas was exactly what we were looking for. So we leased him for 2 years, and he's again very consistent. He's got huge, beautiful eyes. It's amazing how he can improve a shoulder and a neck set on a mare, strengthen bodies. He's very consistent in what he's produced for us, and he did everything that we wanted him to do. We love Dominic and believe in him a lot, and I think, you know, we're both very happy that he's getting the recognition now worldwide. In the first year that we leased him, I really struggled to sell any breedings at all from him. Nobody knew the stallion. Nobody, you know, they wanted to breed or buy breedings for popular stallions, and they were worried that if they bred to a stallion, then that nobody really knew, you know, would it be more difficult to sell the offspring? And the people that took a risk on him were very happy, and so that's the story of Dominic. He's a great horse.
Okay, and now let's take a look of how social media react to your presence here. We have a lot of people that send cheers to you, and we have Joanna Ulstrom that write that you are a great example of a genuine and fantastic farm manager. And Dawn Gwinnett, and Dawn Gwinnett that see that you are impressive, and she love your knowledge and breeding program. Then we received thank you. Some other question. Youssef from Abu Dhabi. I really admire Dr. Ghanem and all what he is doing. If you could pick a mare from his breeding program and start your own breeding program, which one you would take and why, and which stallion you would use with her?
Wow, that's a great question. Well, there's so many to choose from. I personally love Dora Al Hawaja. She's a young mare that we have here, and she had her first foal this year. That's an Exalt colt. We love him. He's going to be in the show ring next year. And Dora is a daughter from Fa'il Shawan, out of a Versace daughter, Gloriana, and Gloriana goes back to Psyche, and Dr. Yanam purchased Gloriana with the sole purpose to breed to Shawan. He had purchased a breeding to Shawan, and he knew he could only use it in America or in Brazil. So he set about searching for a mare, and he found a 6-year-old maiden mare in California, and took the risk because he believed in the mare and the pedigree. Gloriana's been an amazing mare for us. She's also got an Exalt filly this year that we're very happy with. We've got a Rasheen daughter by her that's got her first foal this year. That's a Khalid Al-Hamid colt. And Gloriana's been amazing. And Dora, for me, not only she's the sweetest horse in in the world, and she just loves cuddles the whole day long. I think that her potential as a broodmare. Who to breed her to? Well, that's a good question. I think because of her pedigree, there's many options. She this year for us, she did exactly what we wanted with Exalt. I think I would probably choose either Luigi or Hariri Al-Shakab to breed over her. I'd have to ask Dr.
So
Ghanem what he wanted.
let's see if Dr. Ghanem will follow your idea next year.
You know, we have many discussions. Breeding here, it's not a quick process.
I can imagine.
There's many long discussions between Dr. Ghanem, his sons. Of course, I need to mention, Obi. Obi's been a very large part of Al Hawaja Stud for many years. We love him, he's part of the family. Obi is professional and honest, and he's amazingly talented. And he also, his opinions are fantastic as far as breeding is concerned. And we consult Obi, we consult, so it's not just, it's a community effort, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Okay, then we have Rashid Alali Al-Ghid Arabians. And he asks, are you considering a new straight Egyptian in your breeding program?
We've often thought about bringing in a straight Egyptian stallion or buying some breedings. We purchased last year some breedings from BK Latif to introduce some more Egyptian blood. Unfortunately, we haven't managed to get a pregnancy from him, so we'll try again next season. The season here is at the end now, but we've definitely thought about it over the year. Dr. Yanam would love to breed a top quality purebred, straight Egyptian colt for himself. We have one straight Egyptian mare on the farm, so there's a lot of weight on her shoulders. But yeah, so he would like to one day.
Okay, then he keep asking, after breeding for such long years, do you think that your breeding program has taken the shape that you aimed for? Hence, what's unique about Al Hawajer breeding program?
I think that the breeding program is evolving. I think we're always pushed, as with many other breeders, every year to find young, exciting colts to put over our mares. I think that it's definitely, we're very proud of what we've produced. We tend to breed a lot of pretty bay colts. Even when we breed chestnut mares and grey stallions, we end up with bay colts. We have a lot of bay colts. But, and a lot of people over the years have said, if you want to bring in semen sexing, you can get more fillies. And Dr. Yanam said, why? I love my colts. I have fantastic colts. And if God wants me to have colts and they're good colts, I'll keep on having colts.
You know, this is a
Yeah.
question that a lot of people, not in the Arabian horse business, but in the other breeds, ask me why in the Arabians is not so often that, they select the sex on the semen. And this exactly was I was thinking. If, we start to select the sex and everybody will have fillies, who will breed the future stallions?
Yes, and I think also it's frozen semen has had, unfortunately, I think quite a negative effect in quite a ways on the Arabian breed. I remember, my parents' bred, they had a very small farm in Australia, and I was going to horse shows from, as a child all the way up in Australia, and we had such a diversity of bloodlines, and you'd go to horse shows and see fantastic examples of Arabian horses with pedigrees. You go, oh, what's that? I don't know that one. And you'd go and look up and do the research and think, oh, well, that would be really interesting to use. But you were forced to use stallions that were in a certain radius. So you had to think outside the box. Now, we've narrowed the bloodline so much with the use of worldwide frozen semen that it's really difficult to look for the next step, to look to breed outside the box and to find something different.
Yeah, this was something that we talked also with Christine Jamar, I think 2 or 3 episodes ago. And, when I started to breed, I was at the show and I can easily see the difference between each bloodline. You can recognize just looking if they was Russian blood or Spanish or Polish. Today looks like all of the horses are the same. So they are, you cannot anymore find which bloodline they are. Of course, you can do for some particular maybe horse that the stallions is very prominent, like Farid or this kind of stallion that you can recognize, but it's not like anymore. And I think also this came from frozen semen. Everybody can use
and those
any horse.
Yeah, and there's so many examples of wonderful breeding farms over the year that you could look at a horse and know that it came from that farm. That's a horse from that farm. You knew a gainy look. You knew. They had a stamp. They had a.
Another horse that came in my mind is Zita Tishak Fantasy. He has this particular kind of eye setting and head that when you see some, progeny of him, you can recognize that come from him.
Yeah. I actually worked with Shark Fantasy at Michael Byatt's in 1999 and 2000.
Really?
When he was in America as a 2-year-old, at the time that Michael was showing him as a young horse. No, maybe he was a 4-year-old. I think 3-year-old, 4-year-old, around there at the time. But I was at Michael's during Shark Jamara, Shark Fantasy, and I was just in awe. I was like, wow, I've never seen faces like this before. It's amazing.
Yeah. With this kind of eyes in that position, it was really something really spectacular.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Always from Algid Arabians, he asked, some stallions introduce some major fault. I'm not asking you to name those stallions, but what major fault that takes long time to outbreed?
I think with withers and shoulders and eye sockets. But I would say that the hardest one to outbreed is maybe a ray tail. I think ray tails are difficult to, you see them sometimes, they skip a generation and you'll see it 2 generations on that a horse comes up with a ray tail. I would say that that's the most difficult thing to try and breed out. I think as far as legs and things like that are concerned, it's getting more and more difficult. Again, going back to the frozen semen, when you're using such a limited number of stallions, it's really difficult to find stallions with really good legs, really good feet, to fix problems of the past. And it's not as easy as saying, well, don't breed to those daughters. What do you do with them then? Also, like that, it begs a lot bigger question. And some of them have, they're fantastic Arabian horses in every other aspect. And you just need to, try and correct the legs or, the one thing. So, yeah, that would be my answer.
Then we have Musabba Al-Kabi from Fujairah. When did you start working with Al-Wajer stud?
In 2008, I was working for specifically equine at the time for Scott Ullman and Mary Lang in Europe. I'd been in Germany for 9 years I'd worked at Sax Arabians and at specifically equine. And Scott was moving to France and Mary was moving to Austria. And at the time, because they were splitting up the farm, Mary asked if I wanted to come to the Emirates for 1 season to teach some of the staff and to train and prepare the horses from Dr. Yanam for a season. And, I fell in love with the farm and we've still got the same foreman here. He's a hardworking, extremely hardworking Egyptian guy called Hamada. It's been a learning process for all of us, and it brought new challenges for me. It was an opportunity to learn. When you're working in training centers, you have these ideas of, hey, what about this or what about that? You never get the chance to actually do it, and so that's how it started. In 2008, I came to Al Hawajer, and I'm almost part of the furniture now, I'd say.
Okay, then we have Aluana stud, and they ask, what do you think of club foot? Is it a major fault? Do you start with a club foot mare?
It is considered a fault, but it's again one of those really difficult things. In the ideal world, you would say, okay, we don't breed from that mare. We've seen it many times, many times, that club feet can also be caused from different issues. Most of the time it is genetic, but sometimes the horse had an accident. And if you don't know the horse from when it's young, you don't know the history of the horse, you don't know exactly, if it's going to be genetic or not. And then you see it also times where it also skips a generation. You don't see, you can have offspring, then they never produce the offspring. Obviously, in ideal world, you'd say, okay, let's not breed the horse with club feet, but it's very difficult then to, obviously you try not to, but yeah.
So it's not the first fault that make you to decide not to use that horse. There are faults
not the first fault. Yeah, I think. Well, I think that it comes down to the individual stallion. Obviously, when you've got a horse that is almost perfect, except for one issue or another, or you have to make up your mind what you want to go for. What's important to you in your breeding program, and when you're looking at, and we've done it. Dr. Yanam's done it. We've weighed up the options sometimes. Okay, well, these are the great points, these are the bad points, and if the great points outweigh the bad points, you take a risk sometimes, I think.
Yeah.
And see.
Okay. Last question from Jasmine Kennedy from United Kingdom. Will there be breedings available from Mutabahi Al Hawajer next season to outside mares?
We're thinking of releasing a very select number, maybe only 20 worldwide. He's still a very young colt. He only turns 2 in March. he's definitely not going to be open for like at public stud for everyone to breed in the Emirates or worldwide. There won't be any gifted breedings given out to him, and we haven't decided on the exact number yet, but maybe something around 20 or 30 breedings for a very select number is our plan at the moment. It can always change, but Dr. Yanum, his main interest in the colt is it's a long-term one. It's his breeding, it's his colt, and he doesn't want to overbreed a colt. He always likes, when we've got our young colts, he always likes to have foals on the ground from them first, and we haven't actually bred with him yet ourselves. We're waiting for him to turn 3. So the horse is going to be shown, and it's a lot to ask a young 3-year-old colt to show and breed. And when I think since Paris, we've had over 100 requests for breeding to him. So it's going to be a lot
long
less
list.
than 100. Yeah, it's a lot less than 100 that are going to be bred to him, because Dr. Yanum's interest is in preserving the colt, and it's long term. It's he wants a colt to have a very long future.
Okay.
Okay, Rebecca, I would like to thank you for your participation. It's been a very nice and interesting, talk with you, and hope to meet you soon.
See you
Yes,
soon in
and
show,
thank you very
inshallah.
much from Arabian Essence. It's a great initiative from Arabian Essence to do this during the hard times. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Okay,
Bye.
bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Okay, so now we have a little break, and then we will be back with Medat Gaber from Egypt.
This program is offered by
So we are here with Medat Gaber. I think he's already connected. Hi Medat, how are you?
Yes.
Hello.
Hello. Hi, how are you?
Good, good. And you?
I'm fine. All is super.
Okay. You are our first guest from Egypt, so I would like to ask you something about the situation there.
Yeah, the situation here is, I think now it's better. We have a curfew, but now we need to be starting at 9. So before it was at 7, but now because the cases are not as so much like Europe or the States. So thanks God we are in till now. So
What
so
do you
let's
think
hope it
about?
keeps like this. And
Yes, and what do you think about this emergency?
I think it's something we never used to it. It's first time all in 1 second lockdown and everything is closed. We have to change our way of live. Even it affects us for going to the normal life, supermarkets or something like this. But I think it gives us also sometimes enjoy what we used to be at. Now we understand that we were take something granted and we have to be thankful for it.
Yes. Could you tell us how you get involved with Arabian horses?
Yes, I remember that I already not from a family who are into Arabian horses, but I used to love animals. Also, the family had some animals like pets, normally dogs and so on. Later, I used to meet a friend who had a horse for riding, and this was at El Salam Hotel, Concord El Salam Hotel, and El Shams Club. And it was normal horse, not an Arabian, nothing, just for riding. And then after a while, I used to go to to this stable, and I keep giving food for horses, just give them food, but I never go more at that time. After a while, he started to tell me, okay, come and give them food and stay with them, and you are washing them after, so why don't you try and learn riding the horses? So I said, yes, let's try, let's make a try. And then after a time, I started to ride with him, and I tried to be better with the horses. And then inside this barn was a box for a horse, and it never opened for this because the owner was not in the country at that time, and they said that they will never let this horse out 5 minutes in the morning, something like this. And I looked at the box and I found a very pretty horse, tail, very pretty, not like the normal horses for riding. And then I asked, is this horse from the same species or no? And they said, yes, it's an Arabian horse. It's not the horse are riding, it's something different. And at that time they are telling me it's very expensive, you cannot, we cannot get it out for you to look at or something like that. Then after a while, I started to go to this box 1 time, 2 times to look at that horse. And then I started to tell the groom that I could make for you a salary, but let this horse to be out in the paddock. I would like to see it. And then he said, at first he said, no, we can't. And then after a while I said, okay, but this horse are staying locked up most of the time. Let him be free. And then get him back. So after he started to get him up in the paddock, I see that this horse has spirit. Usually jumping, trying to stay on his back legs. It's something different. Have a spirit, have a charisma. At that time, I started to search about the Arabian horses because I like it. I like the charisma. I like everything. After that, I met a friend. She called Liz Salmon. And I told her I want to learn more about the Arabian horses because I like a horse and I would like to go in this in this kind of horses. And she told me at that time, I am here for just a short trip, but I would like to give you a contact for a very important person in the Arabian horse world. You have to take his number. And then I told her, okay, but please give him a hint that I may call, or sometimes I may be shy to call someone I don't. She told me, no, he's a very nice guy. And then at that time, I called. Not I called. I just was afraid to call. Then I received an email after 3-4 days from our conversation that that man was Dr. Nasser Marai. And he sent
It's
me
very interesting.
yes.
Yeah.
And
But
at that time for me it was something.
and so you started
Sorry?
then to breed straight Egyptian or what?
No, at that time I was still, I don't know, I even, when she told me Dr. Mai, for me, yes, an important man, but I was at stages. Then he called me. After that he called me and I was in a shock. Oh, one of the best breeders in the world is calling you. And in Egypt he was very famous at that time, and when I searched the internet he was something important. So for me it was like a big call. Then after he told me that I knew a friend and I would like you to come for having a cup of tea and we could have a conversation. So it was for me a big thing that I'm going to go to meet Dr. Nasser Mai, and we stayed at his farm for the first time. He was very welcoming, a really unbelievable person to meet, because at that time he don't know me well and treat me as if we are friends for a long time, very long time. Then he started to,
Yeah, he was also our good
we
friend.
sit-
You know, he is one of the most important
yes,
straight
yes.
Egyptian breeder in the world. But let's say
Yes.
I know you send us some videos of your horses, so let's play them and we can comment together.
This is from the farm I'm managing.
Who is this horse?
This is Tarhib Al Badia. This is by Lahib. This is from Dr. Nasser Mai breeding, from Al Badia stud. And at that time, Lahib was in Egypt for 6 months, and Dr. Nasser Mai breed him for 8 years at that time. And this was one of the mares bred by Lahib. And the dam.
Yeah,
was
I
very
remember.
important,
I was
dam
visiting
at-
Dr. Nasser at that time. I was in Egypt to work with Judy Forbes at the book of Al Shakab, and I was working with Dr. Nasser Marey to this book. He was doing the Arabic version, and I was doing, the layout and the
Yeah.
design. So every day I was, the hotel, the Mena House. It's just in front of his door,
Yeah.
gate
Yes.
of the farm.
Yeah,
So
yes.
I was staying at the Mena House, and every day he was coming to pick me up at the Mena House to go to his farm and work together. And we enjoyed every day some of his horses. So I remember that Laib was there, and he showed me. And also another time, there was this. Let me think. Sharaf. Sham Sharaf, maybe.
Simeon Sharaf. No,
Simeon
Simeon
Sharaf.
Sharaf.
Simeon, yeah,
Simeon
you're
Sharaf,
right.
yes.
Oh
Yeah.
my gosh,
And
but
at that time,
yeah.
Yeah, I know. This is very nice memories to remember one of the best
Yeah.
in the world breeding street Egyptian, and also a great man in the.
So, okay, we have another video.
This is Amin Al-Wali. This is by Wasifa El-Gabri and Radwan El-Badia, also from the breeding of Mari. And the grand dam is Simeon Safir. And the grand dam from the other side is Wasima, which is half sister to Wasfaya El-Gabri, which acquired by Hanaya Stad, Naila Hayek.
Ah. So how
from
do you
both
think the
sides,
future
very
of
important
breeding
families.
in Egypt and in the world in general will be?
In Egypt, I think that the straight Egyptian quality is raised more because after we have, we don't have exporting for 7 years. It was export from Egypt, and helps the breeder to keep the quality in spite. We have now a large number of horses, but the quality raised a lot, and we need to inform or to show the people already we have now more quality in Egypt, and they need to come such a quality. For the
And
world,
could you tell?
that it will become.
Yeah. Sorry, finish.
No, the world, I think the quality were very high level also, and this make everything tough. The quality, you need to raise your quality, and it's became really not easy.
Could you tell us something more about Horsemunity?
For example,
What is exactly and how does it work?
I think the connection.
Horsemunity, I think we need the new breeders to have something like a database and something to go for education. And tried with the first seminar in 2017. I was speaking to Miss Claudia Darius from Germany, and she accepted that we can do the seminar in Egypt. We need to let the people have more education about the Arabian horse. Before buying a horse or breeding a horse, we need them first to be ready to acquire such horses. So I was trying that we need more in this field, because as you can see now, there's not a lot of education. You have to visit a breeder, or you have for someone to ask for experience. A lot of books, lot of seminars, lot of experienced, a lot of experienced books or people talking to the new people. So
Okay.
I think we need to start to do it also through your knowledge or something like this. I read something that Arabian Essence making knowledge for people, and this is something also great.
Okay.
Yeah, this is something that we
Thank
are
you.
trying to do, and we would like to thank all people that support us and that follow us, because personally I think it's very important knowledge and sharing, all the information, and very easy to get without pay anything for free, because what we need in our business is people that know about horses, that know how to do things with horses, and I think this will help in future our business.
So we go to see that we have a question from Algid Arabians. Some judges prefer to be in the safe place, giving good legs 15.5 and bad legs 15. What are your thoughts about it? I think
Judges,
maybe.
if
Do you hear us?
sorry.
Do you hear the
Yeah,
question?
I hear you.
Okay.
Yes, I hear the question. I think the safe side doesn't help because at the end of the day, the judge who take a decision, usually his will not count. So this is not going, you just make like the legs, the whole class doesn't count. If you stay in the safe side or three or stay safe side, then all the marks of the legs will be same. Then we give the right decision for any horse.
So, okay,
So for me,
Medhat.
it must be a decision from the judge.
Okay, Medhat, thank you very much for your time. It was a pleasure to talk with you and to hear a little bit about your story. And hope to see you soon again in show, maybe in Bruges,
Thank
like
you. Thank
the
you
first
very
time
much.
I meet you. And now we go with a small break, and then we go with
I'm
the
looking
next guest.
forward for it.
Bye. Bye bye.
Bye.
Okay. Bye.
This program is offered by
So we are now connecting with Davide Bona of BD Arabians. Davide, are you here?
Yes, you hear me?
Yeah, perfectly. How are you?
I too. Fine, thanks. Just finished work.
Are you working normally with the emergency or some difference?
Yes, a little bit less, but I work a lot in my center and in other breeding center that I have. So for me is the same because the work is a lot with the mare in this season.
What is your clinic all about? What do you do in there?
Especially reproductive and gynecology of the mare and all about the stallion and the reproductive problems of the mare, embryo transfer, and all this procedure, yes, for the mare and for the stallion.
What are your thoughts about the various embryo controversies?
Yes, I know that some breeder don't like this procedure, especially in the Arabian with the Arabian breeding. But I think is also great opportunity, especially for the mare that is impossible to conceive to have a foal. So for me, is a very big chance for this mare, especially for quality mare.
Yeah, I agree. How did you start with Arabians? By chance, or was your family already in this business?
No. My family are not in the horse world. So I started when I was little, but I only ride the horse and not with Arabian. I started with Arabian 6-7 years ago because I start to work with a lot of little breeder near my zone. So I start to love this breeding.
I know you, Alessio, and Mikey are the proud owners of Marchesa Adagio. We
Yes.
really enjoyed to film him, but can you tell us something more about him?
Yes, I love him. You know, I use him when he's in leasing here in Italy in 2016. He was at Luca Oberti in leasing, and I chose immediately because I like him and especially his production. My friend Mikey from Belgium shown me a lot of his progeny, and I really impressed by this baby. So I immediately buy a breeding. But the problem is that I don't have a mare. So I take in leasing a beautiful mare from a great breeder in Italy that is Angelo Scipioni. And I lease this mare that for me is something special, Child Dream Desert daughter. And I breed with Adagio. And I have a beautiful filly by her, that is Malena, my filly.
We remember about Malena, right, Elvis?
Yes.
Yeah. Hi, Davide. Last November, you asked us to come and make a video of your Malena, and she was just back
Yes.
from Verona. I remember where she won the title of European champion mare. That was an
Yes.
amazing day. She was so grateful and nice. Let us play her video, and maybe you can relive the moment with us, and tell us how you felt when she won.
Yes. I can't believe. Also today, I can't believe that wins European Championship. For me, is something of something impossible, but she did it.
Yeah,
She
when
win
we
also-
did this video, it was first time that I saw her because I was not at the European Championship. But believe me, she's really special. She's so feminine and so elegant and refined, and I was really kept by her.
Yes.
What did you do after her victory?
But I didn't remember because in this moment I'm so excited and I don't remember what I do after this victory. Really, I crying and yes, all the people come to me for congratulations. So it's very big moment for me. Also because it's not in my mind to go to European Championship because I shown her to Italian Championship and she win gold medal in Italian Championship. And after this win, Giacomo asked me if I want to show in Verona, but it's not in my mind. So for me, it's a totally unexpected win, and I couldn't ask for anything better.
I can imagine. But was she in fall in that moment or not?
No. I do only embryo with her.
Okay. And you sent
Yes.
us a video of her two foals just born this year. Let us
Yes.
watch it.
No, one of these is born last year because it's the first embryo that I do with her. So it's born exactly the day before that she win Italian championship.
Ah,
So you can
okay.
imagine. The night before, yes, I'm in the restaurant with my friends and the telephone ring because I have the device on the mare that call me when they have a birth. So this telephone call, and I immediately go to the clinic, to my stable, and I see this beautiful foal. Immediately when I see, I think this is a filly because the head is incredible. So this is a filly. And when I open the door and I see better, I saw that is a colt, but very, very beautiful colt. I'm so happy. And the day after, she wins gold medal in Italian championship.
And this colt is by who?
By Exalt.
Ah, what a coincidence. Only 2 weeks ago, we had this Ted
Yes.
Carson as our guest, and he sent us a nice video of Exalt.
Yes. I chose him because I'm really impressed by him and especially by his progeny. I saw a lot of video that Ted shared on his Facebook page of his progeny, and all these foal have a lot of attitude, a lot of type. And also that for me is very important is the dam line, and I love her mother. Vespera for me is incredible mare. I love her, and so I choose. And for me is a big challenge, but I have more than I expected from this cross.
And this is the baby,
Yes, this
right?
Yes, this is the little colt when he was 3 or 4 days. Very little, yes.
Now I understand why you thought about a filly. What a face, eh?
Yes, believe me. When I saw the first time, I think immediately this is a filly.
And look at the movement.
Yes. A lot of attitude. And the good body, good movement. Love him.
And in this video,
this
how
is
old
the-
is he?
7 months. I
Okay.
take this video some days ago, so it's not easy for me to take a video in my farm because I'm alone now and not easy. But yes, the colt is very, very amazing for me.
So he
And
did the job.
the second foal is a filly by the incomparable Borsalino. Davide,
yes.
you must know that last year I was at Joanna Woodstrom farm to film her masterclass for the Arabian Essence Academy, and I saw Borsalino and a lot of his daughters outcome of my visit. I started to consider which of my mares could match well with him, so inshallah we'll see. It's really
Yes.
nice stallion.
Yes,
Then,
believe me, it's incredible.
Then also we had a talk with Christine Jamar 3 weeks ago, and we talked about using old stallions that maybe today are not so fashionable on top of a very nice mare to try and
Yes.
bring a strong character back on the nowadays horses. I think I already expressed my thoughts about this topic, telling my view on horse like El Perfecto, but here the question comes automatically, why Borsalino? And please answer to this question for our follower.
Yes. I saw him 3 years ago when I go to Derby Farm after the Aachen All Nation Cup, and I see him in person, and I'm in shock because I'm totally in love with him. These big, huge eyes, and this 21 years old stallion with the incredible body and croup and correct and balance. Wow, I loved him immediately. And I say this, I buy breeding immediately when I go at home, and I breed Malena immediately because when I choose the stallion, I have to feel something, and immediately when I see Borsalino, I feel this something. So when I arrive at home, I immediately sign the contract with Joanna, and I use. And I have what I want because this filly for me is something of incredible. And I think some old stallion can improve a lot young fillies that we have today, because I think in the year we lose something in the Arabian breeding. So maybe with the use of the old stallion in the young mares, we can add this thing that we have lose.
And this is your filly, right?
Yes, this is the filly. The filly have 2 months and also big attitude, good neck, and the face with the eyes is incredible. Sometimes when I go to the farm, I have a lot of work, but I stay to see and to look for some minutes because I love her.
She is lovely.
Yes, I'm totally in love with her.
So she for sure will stay with you, I guess.
Yes, sure. This is not for sale. Also because, yes, this cross is a strange cross. Some of my friends and my clients say, but what you do this cross with the old stallion on this very nice mare and you use the old stallion, but I'm not interested in a fashion or I don't breed for sell or for go to the show. I breed for myself. So this is the demonstration that what I do.
I think
so
this
we
is
are
the
in the
best.
same wave.
Yes,
I'm
I'm
doing
not
the same
interested
like you.
to sell and yes, and the fashion and no, because I'm not interested.
Good.
Yes.
So we have,
Elena, do we have some question from the
yeah.
social room?
Yeah, we have some question for you. We have Loredana from Italy. Ciao Davide, my best congrats for your two nice foal. I would like to ask if you are selling embryos of your Malena and also with which stallion you will cover her this year.
I sell some embryos, but not too much because I want also breed her. And this year I deserve for her one stallion that for me can improve something in her, that is a real Shakab.
Very nice.
Wow.
Then we have Gerard from Gerard from Poland. Davide, what do you think about embryo transfer? As a vet and a breeder, we saw you do it with your mare. What do you think also about the reception mare? There is any difference between to use an Arabian mare and another breed?
Yes, this is another very interesting question because I have some clients that want to use Arabian mare as a recipient, but usually I prefer to use Thoroughbred or Trotter mare because for me is better mare. Some Arabian mare, especially in the first birth, are not so good with the foal, and the Trotter and Thoroughbred mare are most maternal with the foal. So I think is better as a mare, as a recipient.
Okay, then we have Eric from Belgium. I heard that some breeders are doing also ovum pickup. With only one straw of frozen semen, there are clinics who can do 5 or 6 or even more embryos and keep them frozen for the future. Are you using this technique? What do you think about?
No, I'm not doing ovum pickup because need a great machine and great laboratory for work with the ICSI, the intracytoplasmatic sperm injection. So I have a lot of clients that ask him this, but I work with Avantea. This is the big lab in Italy and also in Europe, one of the best lab in Europe. I think the best lab in Europe that do this. And I think the OPU is another chance to take something from the mare, especially from the old mare, that is impossible to doing an embryo. Because yes, with embryo transfer, you take off the embryo after 7-8 days that you breed the mare. With ovum pickup, the fecundation is doing in vitro. So if the mare have problem to give an embryo, it's possible to do something with the ovum pickup. And also the ovum pickup is a great chance for the mare that death immediately after the death, you can take the ovary and send immediately to the lab, and they take out the oocyte and give injection of sperm and maybe have some embryo with the dead mare. So for me, it's a great chance also this.
And it's very nice and very interesting. Last question,
Yes.
it's Paul from Holland. I have a question for you as a vet. I'm really disappointed about trainers that do frozen semen in their own training center. And then when you buy a breeding, they send you very few straw, like they are sending you gold. Why do you think they do this? They get paid from the owner of the stallion already to make it. Am I wrong? This is not a question against you. I'm asking you only because you are a vet.
Yes, this is a big problem that we have encountered every day in my practice, and this is especially for the jumping horse. And but yes, it's very difficult sometimes to work with only one or two straw of frozen semen, especially because sometimes it's also bad semen, so it's very difficult to work like this. But sometimes it's necessary because maybe the stallion is died and the frozen semen is not a lot, so the owner prefer to sell less straw than they need. But is very difficult to breed with less than all doses.
Okay. So, thank you, Davide. It was very nice to talk with you, and I hope to see you again soon.
I
And,
hope me too.
Bye,
Yes.
Davide. Thank you for your participation.
Ciao, Elvis.
And congratulations
Thank you
for
too.
your filly and your coat. They are very nice, and I hope to have chance to come to visit you again soon.
Yes, we hope. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye, bye, bye.
Bye bye.
Bye.
Now, Elena, let us have a short video ad break, but please stay with us because then we will have a very special surprise about a very old and famous horse.
This program is offered by
And we are back. As I told you, we have a special guest. Last week was the birthday of a stallion that was very famous in Europe. He is a nice chestnut straight Egyptian, straight Russian stallion, direct son of Balaton. I'm sure everybody remember him. He is Mars. So I called this proud owner at Scuderia Legroane and asked to send me a video of him today. Can we show it?
He's a chestnut boy.
Yeah. He's 30 years old this year. And I saw a photo of him on Facebook, and I remember that he was on a book that Gigi did at the beginning of his career, Captured in Time Arabian Stallions in Europe. Let me see, I think I have this book. When the video is finished, I will show you. Yeah, for 30 years old, he's in a very good shape.
He interested in girls as well.
Yeah. So,
Okay, you have the book?
Yeah, look. This is the book. I'm sure that a lot of people know it. It's a very old book. And this is him. Mars. I think Gigi did this photo when he was at Florioli Arabians. Florioli Guido was the owner at that time. He is by Balaton, and mother is Mirnaya. And I know very well this blood because one of my first mares was from a direct daughter of Balaton. So I really like. When I saw that photo in Facebook, I thought to ask Cristina to send me a short video to to celebrate the birthday of this nice stallion. It was very famous at that time, and he won a lot of shows too. I think it was one of the most important son of Balaton here in Italy, and I think also in Europe.
And so he turned 30 years last week, and we make a happy birthday to him and to all, and we congratulate to his owner.
Yeah.
Well, thank you all for have followed us till now. I hope that for the next Friday, my dad will be enough better to take back his place at the Stay at the Farm. Keep following our social media page to discover the next guest, to send us a question for our next guest, and watch again your favorite ones. If you are spending this time in this lockdown with your family in the farm with horses and kids, we will be happy to receive a video of your kids and add it into our opening. And so thank you for watching, and see you next Friday.
Also, Elena, I would like to remember people that of course follow us in the upcoming days, because we will announce our guest list that next week we'll have some very interesting talk with people very important, and most important things to send us the messages and to put in the list, because we already have next 2 appointments fully booked. So it's better that you start to write and put on the list to be our guest in next 2 weeks, after 2 weeks. Thank you very much to everybody, and see you next Friday. I hope Marco will be with us.
Yeah, I hope it too. So thank you very
Give my
much,
regards
and
to him.
I will. And goodbye. See you soon.
Bye.
This program is offered by